The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman.
All right, what's happening? It's another Monday afternoon, and I'm Dynamic Dave, and welcome to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. If you'd like to join me, you can also send me an email at blackfocusradio@gmail.com. Hit me up on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And when you go out to YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe as we march to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there, so we need your support. A lot of things going on this week. By the way, if you smell barbecue, I'm in my home office right now, and I'm actually smoking a brisket. And if I lose consciousness or I just kind of just zone out, it's because of the smell of the brisket. Which reminds me, you can smoke a brisket as well. At least you can simulate smoking a brisket. All you need is my seasoning. It's at ribrub.com, RIBBRUBB.com. Make sure you get some rib rub, get some rib juice, some rib dust. Well, I tell you what, just order the gift box and you will have everything you need inside that box to smoke a brisket just like I am, or ribs, or chicken, or whatever you think that you need to smoke. You can do it with my rib rub. Also, don't forget to support the sponsor, joynetradio.com. Go out and listen to some great gospel music when you're not listening to Black Focus Radio. One other thing, and we got a Black Fact coming up here in just a moment, which I think speaks to the things that we've been talking about for about the last 2 or 3 years as it relates to white supremacy. But I want to remind people that I am on a campaign, and I'm just one, okay? And I decided to start this about a month ago. And I'm trying to get rid of the N-word. And I know you think I'm crazy. I know you think it'll never happen. And you may be right. But, in order to grow a forest, you have to plant a seed. And this is the seed that I'm planting right now within the minds of those who listen to the show. Hopefully you will share it with other people, but just don't say it. Okay? Just don't say it. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to play and some people don't particularly care for him, and there are times when he does get on my nerves, but I think he makes a very valid point on why you should not be using the N-word. And later on in the show, I'm going to share something with you about what Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said about the N-word as well. Okay? So let me take a moment just to play this, and then we'll be back on the other side.
Last one on Her to Help Black People, the N-word.
Oh, hurt. We should never be using the N-word, bro. And we're the only people who fight for the right to use a pejorative term. You don't see Asians fighting for the right to use the words people call them. You don't see Latinos fighting for. We're the only people who will fight for the right to use the most harmful word ever created to describe a people in the history of mankind. We sick, bro. We sick. Somebody sent me a clip. One of our celebrities was begging the white person to say the N-word. Did y'all see that? Somebody was begging the white person to say the N-word. Why would you do that? Because we love white folks. Oh, we love white folks.
Should we be getting gold and chains and diamonds and watches?
No, I want you to turn that in and put it as a down payment for an institution. There you go. Frederick Douglass, Marcus Garvey, Dallas. Harriet Tubman Clinic.
Come on.
Ida B. Wells Supermarket. Build institutions.
Then we can have it.
Oh, once we got the institutions, you can have it. But we got to have the institutions. Got to have the infrastructure.
There you have it right there. Dr. Umar Johnson making the point about using the N-word. It is probably the most hateful word that has been ever created by white people. And it fascinates me that people here in our community just use it just to use it, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's offensive. I don't use the word. There are times I've used it in order to make and show an example of why you shouldn't use the word, or why or how white people look at black people by using that word subconsciously, like when they're using the word woke and DEI. That is nothing more than a substitution for nigger. See how I use that to give you an example? So there is no reason why we should be using that word at all. So I'm on a campaign. Eventually, and it's simple. Just don't say it. How about there are plenty of things that you can substitute that word with. If you claim that you are using that word as a means of love for your brother or your sister or your man or your woman, then why not substitute something that is not derogatory and is much more loving? You don't even have to be complicated about it. Why not just use the word when you're referencing a brother, a man? Hey, brother, what's happening? Okay? What's up, sister? How you doing? When you refer to people in a positive term, you get a positive response. That's all I'm saying. It's that simple. Just don't say it, but say, "What's up, my brother? What's up, my sister? You're beautiful. You're a beautiful black sister. What's up, my queen? What's up, my king? What? Have you ever try this? Try this. The next time you see a brother or a sister, just say, "What's up, my king?" Watch the response. The next time you see a sister, "What's up, my queen?" When you see a young brother, because now they are trying to refer to young black men as YNs, young N-words. Just don't say it. Don't embrace that. "What's up, my prince? What's up, young princess?" You see how you're reinforcing positive energy, because you know I like to say positive power is pure energy. I like to say that. All right? Instead of "What's up, young N-word? What's up, my N-word? Oh, that's my N-word." You know, women don't even refer to their significant others as their men or their mates anymore. "Oh, that's my N-word." We're the only people. We are the only people that uses that word and try to pretend like it's something positive. And then you want to get mad at white people when they use the word. Something to think about. You know what I'm saying? Something to think about. So here's what we've got on the agenda today. And then we're going to do Black Facts. We got a lot of stuff. Of course, by now you've heard about the Rodney Hinton Jr. case and his son, Ryan Hinton. We're going to talk a lot about that, and we're going to juxtapose the story of Luigi Mangione in this as well, and watch in fascination. Okay? Dr. Cameisha Clarke. Have you heard about her? Well, you're going to hear about her today. We're going to talk about her. And ICE and white supremacy. Are you surprised? I'm not. In fact, at this point, when you've got white supremacists in the government, those who ran or wrote Project 2025 on the cabinet, I'm not surprised. Oh, one other thing. Speaking of the corrupter in chief, the criminal in chief, the felon in chief, he's got all kinds of names. Where are those Epstein files? Why are they hiding the Epstein files, the same files that they promised the American people during the campaign that they were going to release? But for whatever reasons, they are being held back, and many believe that the reason they're being held back is maybe there's an interesting name in there. We'll get into that. And speaking of that person, where's the scar? Can someone tell me where the scar is? Y'all know, we're going to talk about that today. Because why is it nobody is talking about this? I'm seeing picture after picture. I don't care what you say. If you get hit by a high-powered projectile that was shot at you, it's going to leave a scar. You're not telling me that the plastic surgeon did... Okay, let me stop before I get into that. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. And there's an Alabama ruling as it relates to voting. White supremacists is everywhere. And I'm going to ask you black people, you still think we're living in a post-racial society? Yeah, think? All of that and more. But before we do that, we've got to do black facts. And this is from the Black History Network. And the title of this black fact is Why Black Africans Are Feared by White People. And you know, it talks about white genetic annihilation. The one thing that I've been talking about now for years here on Black Focus Radio that no one paid attention. Look, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back because I'm sure there have been other people who have been talking about white genetic annihilation. I just happen to be a fan of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, and I've been listening for years prior to her passing, reading her books, and seeing the evidence being displayed right before my face. And now that we've gotten a white supremacist president who is pushing a white supremacist agenda in Project 2025, it is as clear as day that we are living in a white supremacist time. So this black fact will give you some insight on how we got here and why all the policies that we've been seeing, I talked about it on last week's show. By the way, you can go back to YouTube and listen to, what was that, the April 5th show? Go back and check it out. You'll see that I went into depth. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and listen to Black Facts.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Why is there so much hate and racism against black people? Wait for a second and really understand this question. Not only hate, but people feel jealous of blacks and see them as a threat. Vox reported a study done by the American Psychological Association that showed black people are seen as a threat. This trend has been seen for centuries, but why is that so? Evidence shows that there are some reasons carved in non-black people's minds that subconsciously provoke them to feel jealousy and hate. Well, yes, the underlying reasons are shocking. From the fear of losing their partners to being jealous of black people's physical superiority and fear of getting extinct and genetic annihilation, various reasons trigger jealousy. Welcome to the Black History Archives, a channel where we present the forgotten black history and events that every black or white should know. We feel black people are often misguided by being bombarded with propaganda that forces them to forget their glory. Our goal is to educate you about the factual events that shape everything. Let's build a black community that grows together. In this video, we will tell you the reasons why black people are viewed as a threat.
The Black History Archives.
Reason 1. Fear of losing partners. Picture a white man deeply in love with a white woman, committed to each other in a strong relationship. However, hidden beneath the surface, he harbors a secret worry, the fear that his partner might be drawn to other black men. It's a fear born out of society's perpetuation of stereotypes, associating black men with sexual prowess and physical dominance. These stereotypes can trigger deep-seated insecurities within the white man, causing him to question his own sexual performance and physical attractiveness. In today's world, where interracial relationships are more accepted, some white men may feel threatened by the attention black men receive, fearing that their partners might find them more sexually appealing. These anxieties can undermine the security of the relationship and create unnecessary tension. Even reports have suggested that black men might be pro-masculine, having abilities to satisfy their partners better. This has led white people to feel threatened by black men. Interestingly, if we look at the current landscape, we can observe a rise in relationships and marriages between black men and white women. It's possible that this trend reflects a growing recognition of the sexual charisma that black men possess, which is now openly acknowledged by many. Reason 2. Physical superiority. Throughout history, blacks have been recognized for their exceptional physical strength and charisma. These qualities have at times evoked fear and insecurity among non-black individuals who see the potential dominance of black people as a threat to their own status and values. Even white men see black people as superhumans due to their experience in which they are often outperformed. Non-black societies, such as European colonizers, established social and cultural structures that marginalize black people. They devalue physical labor, in which black individuals excelled, and instead celebrated delicate fragility as a sign of refinement and civilization. Ancient philosophers, like Aristotle, further propagated the notion that black individuals were inherently subservient. These distorted beliefs were used to justify the enslavement and mistreatment of black individuals. However, no matter how much the physical work is degraded, white people feel threatened due to blacks' physical superiority. They have genes that help them grow muscles, enjoying the natural biological supremacy. Studies have also revealed that black people are blessed with genes that help them not only to have cognitive superiority, but also physical dominance. Reason 3. Fear of genetic annihilation. During the era of black enslavement, black individuals posed a significant threat to their non-black masters due to their physical strength and charisma. The fear of genetic annihilation arose from the understanding that if non-black individuals married white individuals, their own genes would be rendered submissive and eventually extinct. Biologically, when individuals mate, their genes combine and influence the traits of their offspring. White individuals feared that intermarriage could lead to the dominance of black genes over their own. This is because of natural selection, where nature selects the genes which have more chances of survival. Genes having specific traits from a mother and a father are combined in their child. However, the gene having robust capability dominates while the other is suppressed. Since black people are better equipped for the environment, naturally, the probability of their genes' domination is more. Hence, if a white woman and a black man, or a black woman and a white man marry, black genes will have superiority and white genes will be suppressed. In the past, owing to this fear, interracial marriage was prohibited. The one-drop rule was established to maintain the oppression of black individuals. This legal principle said that a person having even one black person as an ancestor should be considered black. Therefore, they should not be allowed to marry a white person. Today, as this cannot be added to the law, fear and hate exist after knowing this reality. Enjoying the video so far? If yes, here's a little reminder to like the video and subscribe to our channel to get more videos on black history and culture. Let's continue now. Reason 4. Fear of extinction. The fear of potential extinction often plagues groups who believe that their cultural, ethnic, or racial identity is under threat. White supremacists, in particular, harbor intense fears related to black individuals, perceiving them as strong, attractive, and superior. This fear stems from a sense that the population, influence, or power of white people is diminishing. Demographic changes, including migration patterns, cultural shifts, and changes in birth rates, can amplify these fears. White individuals may feel that black individuals are replacing them, which, coupled with the perceived genetic advantages of black individuals, intensifies their unease. This fear can lead to a desire to preserve their own identity, resulting in racism and discrimination. Fear of extinction stems due to genetic annihilation. As black genes are considered better equipped, white genes will ultimately be suppressed. As a result, There is a fear that the white population will become extinct. Reason 5. Fear of being replaced. For generations, white individuals have enjoyed certain privileges and advantages due to an unequal distribution of wealth. However, societal changes are challenging this status quo, leading some white individuals to fear being replaced. Previously, systemic barriers prevented black individuals from acquiring property, keeping their circumstances unchanged regardless of their efforts. Today, the removal of these barriers allows black individuals to fully pursue their aspirations. The perception of being replaced by black individuals can generate anxiety and fear. This fear is amplified particularly if white individuals believe that black individuals possess advantages in areas such as economics, culture, or demographics. These concerns can lead to a defensive mindset and resistance to societal progress. Since black express better cognitive abilities, and there is no limitation that can suppress this today, the fear of getting replaced becomes obvious. Earlier, this fear was avoided by structural and institutional racism, but today, no such systems exist. Reason 6. The inferiority complex. Some ultra-white conservatives and supremacists may implicitly recognize the perceived superiority of black individuals in terms of survival capabilities, yet they refuse to accept it as reality. Instead, they experience jealousy and an accompanying inferiority complex, which fuels their hatred. An inferiority complex arises from feelings of inadequacy and inferiority compared to others perceived as strong or exceptional. This complex can manifest as low self-esteem, self-doubt, and resentment towards those deemed superior. In conflicts between white and black individuals, the underlying cause is often rooted in the inferiority complex of white individuals. Their hate is a manifestation of their feelings of inadequacy and resentment towards black individuals. White individuals may feel intimidated by the perceived superiority of black individuals and view themselves as incapable of achieving the same level of success or excellence. Focusing on their perceived shortcomings or weaknesses, they may harbor resentment and direct their anger toward black individuals. Reason 7. Fear of losing white supremacy. Extreme white conservative supremacist groups often experience a deep-rooted fear of losing their grip on white supremacy. They interpret increasing racial and ethnic diversity, progressive social movements, and evolving societal norms as direct threats to their social, cultural, and political power. White supremacy ideology asserts that white individuals are inherently superior and chosen by God. Faced with challenges, fear arises within these groups. Paradoxically, this fear stems from the realization that if white supremacy were true, white supremacists themselves would not fear black individuals, as they would be the chosen ones. This fear often manifests as xenophobia, racism, and a desperate desire to maintain traditional power structures. These concerns stem from the belief that white supremacists will become a minority in their own country, relinquishing the advantages they have enjoyed for generations. Political rhetoric that reinforces these beliefs and promotes an us versus them mentality can further exacerbate these fears. In some cases, these groups may resort to violence and intimidation to preserve their control and perceived dominance. What do you think? Aren't these reasons the major contributor to feelings of hostility against black people? Will these fears ever end and there will be no racism and discrimination? Let us know what you think about black people's robust genes and biological supremacy. Do you consider it a reality or is it a myth? Would you like to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to the Black History Archives and click the bell icon. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic black facts, our culture, our history, our people on joynetradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. I hope you enjoyed that Black Fact. If you would like to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, give me a call at 615-554-0568 or hit me up on YouTube. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got a lot of other stuff to talk about. When we come back, we're going to jump into this Rodney Hinton situation because it's It's really interesting. So let's go ahead and take our first break. We're back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
Dynamic Dave for joynetradio.com. I'm inviting all small businesses to contact me at 855-525-5683 and let Joynet Radio set up an advertising package specifically designed with your business in mind. This is a great opportunity for small businesses to get your products on the air. Do you want to get the word out about a new business? Joynet Radio is for you. Do you want to advertise your event or social gathering? Joynet Radio is for you. Do you preach or teach? Do it right here on joynetradio.com. Call me, Dynamic Dave, at 855-525-5683 or go to joynetradio.com and review our great lineup of shows. Let's help each other and let's get your products in the hands of consumers across the country. Call me, Dynamic Dave, at joynetradio.com at 855-525-5683. I'll talk to you soon.
Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at RealRub.com. Holman's Dynamic Pepper Juice is lighting fires around the country. It's the new product from RealRub.com. Use it on meats and vegetables. Add it to your gumbos and greens for an extra punch. Made with all natural ingredients, Coleman's Dynamic Pepper Juice will enhance the flavors of your favorite recipes. Order today on RealRub.com. And while there, be sure to check out some of our other great products. It's developed with love and care using the best all-natural ingredients with no GMOs or preservatives. From snacks to seasonings, Coleman's Dynamic Products has something for everyone. Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah, at RealRub.com.
LeBron James is the greatest player we've seen this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying, and so, well, he wasn't as good as Michael, or he wasn't as good as Magic. Every generation you get that. You begin to sound like that old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard or you even walk by his yard, he's on the porch and he's got that little crooked finger. He's like, get off my lawn! Get off my lawn! Join me Saturday mornings at 8 for the weekly sports magazine on joynetradio.com. Get off my lawn!
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me if you'd like to join the show. A lot of stuff to talk about today, so we want to go ahead and get into it. I want to start the show off by talking about Rodney Hinton Jr. Now, by now, you all have heard about this young man, and so this story broke late Monday after we did the show last week, so I wanted to follow up on it because there is a lot of stuff going on as it relates to this particular issue. I'm probably going to give you an update, and let me write that down because I want to give you an update as well on the white woman who called the black kid the N-word. So I'll get that on there as well. All right? Because all of this there is a bigger dynamic that I think black people are missing because we're too caught up in a lot of BS that is happening around this country. So I think it's important for us to start paying attention and trying to understand how all of this comes into play as it relates to white supremacy, because this is what it really boils down to. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe it or talk about it, but it's just a fact. So it came out last week that Rodney Hinton Jr., after reviewing a video police tape of watching his son being shot down like a dog in the street, became distraught. By the way, his son's name is Ryan Hinton. And I think we are somewhat ignoring the fact that this young black male was shot down like a dog in the street. And by the way, he was shot in the back. Now, according to police reports, and I'm paraphrasing, is that they pulled over a car that had 4 young black males in this car. And allegedly the car was stolen. The kids jumped out and took off running. Okay? And one of the police officers pursued Ryan Hinton. He exclaimed or screamed that he saw a gun. Now, let me put a pin in that for just a moment. Police are trained to scream, he's got a gun, regardless of whether or not there may be a gun, so they can cover themselves if in case it is considered a bad shoot. Okay? Now, according to police, and we can only go by what they're saying, and I'll be honest with you, I don't trust police one bit. I don't care if you're mad at me. I don't care if my friends who are police mad at me. I don't trust them. Because I know they are, number one, they're uneducated, not just in general, but they're uneducated as it relates to law. That's 2 points. They're uneducated in general because all you need is a high school diploma or a GED to become a police officer. So they're uneducated, and then they're uneducated in the law because they don't go to law school. They don't study the law to make sure that they are applying it properly when they approach American citizens. Number two, we know how the police, number three, I should say, we know how police was created. They were nothing more than slave hunters. And they carry that bias even today, even the black ones, because the black ones want to try and fit in and be one of the boys. The thin blue line, as they like to refer to it, is one that oftentimes is never crossed when they do wrong. And when they do wrong, they have the privilege of being investigated by their own brothers. So no, I don't trust a word the police say. I'm thinking about Amber Geiger right now. Y'all remember her, who went into the wrong man's apartment, shot and killed him, and tried to pretend like she thought it was her apartment and he was a burglar. And they did everything they could to try to get her off. I could go on and on and on and name cop after cop after cop who has killed a black person and has done no time. No time. They've even talked about trying to get Derek Chauvin off, but they can't because he's serving time under state laws. Maybe later on in the show I'll tell you about the other white boy that tried to get out in Dallas who shot up a Black Lives Matter march back in 2020. Hello? So Rodney or Ryan Hinton ran. Why did he run if he wasn't guilty? Well, let me just say this. A person running from the cops does not necessarily mean that that person is guilty of committing a crime, because he has a right to a fair trial, right? Let me throw this at you. I saw something earlier, and I'm going to see if I can find it, by Ryan Hinton's grandmother. And I thought it was profound. I hope I saved it. I may not have saved it. And I found that there's a lot of things that I post on my wall. Facebook is now blocking it. I posted a quote by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing about how we refer to one another that I was going to read. Facebook has blocked it. Here's what Ryan Hinton's grandmother said about running from the police. We don't deserve to be killed just because we're running away from the police. We're scared just as much as they are. This is everyday life for us, being scared of the police. I'm 62 years old. What am I saying? I'll be 64 next Tuesday. 62? I'm happy to be here. I ain't trying to cut down on my age. But I'm 64 years old. And you know what, girls and boys? I'm scared of the police. I will stand my ground as far as the law is concerned. I will question them. But at the end of the day, there's an underlying fear that we all as black people, particularly black men, fear the police. Because we know that at any moment, particularly if it's a white cop, that it could go sideways and we could be dead on the side of the road, and that white person will go home to their families. I fascinate all the time while white cops say, well, we're afraid, we want to get home to our families, as if a person who is pulled over because he has a bad traffic light doesn't want to get home to his family. As if a person who doesn't have the right tags wants to get home to his family, or a person who simply swerved, not necessarily paying attention, or ran through a stop sign, or didn't put his signal light on at the prescribed time, wants to get home to his or her family. The key is that most of the time, these people who are not making it home are black people. So Ryan Hinton ran. He was afraid, as are many black people. Don't care what he was doing. Yeah, he may have been in a stolen car. Don't know that to be true yet. That's what the police says. He may have been. But have we gotten to the point where we are continuing to allow police to be the judge, juror, and executioners? Because that's what's going on. That's not happening in the white communities. Remember, I mentioned Dr. Cameisha Clarke. We're going to talk about her in a little bit. We're going to talk about Dr. Cameisha Clarke, because it's important for us to understand how this crap continues to go on. But I want to stick with the Hintons today, because Ryan Hinton, as he ran away, and I want to make sure we talk about Dr. Cameisha Clarke, by the way, because this fits into all of this. Ryan Hinton ran away. Now, the preliminary autopsy is that he was shot in the back. Now, I'm a little confused about this thing about when police can use deadly force. Because if I'm running away from you and I never shot at you, even if I may have had a weapon, should that give you a right to shoot and kill me? I'm asking for a friend. I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm saying to you is that this boy was shot down like a dog in the street. Upon getting the news, his father and police, I guess, decided that they better release the video tape from the cop as soon as possible to try to keep peace in Cincinnati. His father saw this tape, a tape that has not been released to the public, by the way. I would like to see it as well, because the father, upon viewing the tape, he left the police office, and somewhere in Cincinnati, he saw another cop, and he ran him down with his vehicle. Now, was this father that distraught? Was he tired, as I am, as black people across this country are? That's a good question for all of us. He appeared in court last week. He was surrounded by a bevy of police officers, majority of them white slave owners. It was an interesting contrast. Seeing that black man who held no remorse, held his head up high as he was remanded without bond, as he walked out, staring at as many of them as he could. There was a disturbance because Rodney Hinton's family was not allowed in court. The brother of Rodney Hinton was raising hell in the lobby. It was a tumultuous time last week. A lot of people have talked about this. A lot of people have weighed in on this. A lot of people have had sympathy for the police officer that was killed, but they haven't had any sympathy for Ryan Hinton, the young black boy that was executed without due process. You see, due process is something that we're talking about a lot these days. But you see, black kids, black children, black men, black women have been living without due process for centuries. At any moment in our existence, our due process can be snatched away with the blink of an eye by a white cop who feels like that he has been deemed judge, juror, and executioner, even though this man does not know the law. And he will be shielded by the city or the state from suffering any consequences. And this is why this continues to go on. I keep referencing Dr. Cameisha Clarke because this is a prime example. A prime example of how this woman was shot and killed by a janitor. You hear what I'm saying? A janitor. That lady, that janitor, lives. Hello? That janitor lives. Let me read this to you. It's wild how the media stays silent when it comes to us. Dr. Cameisha Clarke, a proud Clarke Atlanta alum, dean of students at Spartan College, and a member of that beautiful sisterhood, Alpha Kappa Alpha, was murdered on campus by a white former security guard. A whole black woman in leadership taken out by a man who never should have been anywhere near her. I said Dr. Cameisha Clarke is her name. Just weeks ago, the whole country was in an uproar when a white male student was killed by a black teen. Headlines was everywhere, nonstop coverage, but now, crickets. Why isn't the nation speaking up for Dr. Cameisha Clarke? Where's the outrage when a black woman, an educator, a leader, a sister is murdered in cold blood? This isn't just a tragedy. It's a reminder that black lives, especially black women's lives, still don't get the respect or the attention they damn well deserve. Hello? Oh, y'all hadn't heard about this? Why aren't they talking about this? That's a great question. White man walks into this woman's office, shoots and kills her and wounds her assistant. By the way, there's a picture of him. He's getting handcuffed. Dylan Roof got taken to lunch before they took him to jail after he had massacred the people at Mother Emanuel. Rodney Hinton Jr. was distraught. And maybe, just maybe, Rodney Hinton Jr. had enough. You know, as I listened to that story, as I listened to the grandparents, as I even listened to the press conferences, I found myself in this position previously when issues like this occur. What would I do as a father if the life of my son was taken? And I'm not just talking about police. I'm talking about someone murders him on the street. Man, y'all pray for me. Because I don't know that I could turn the other cheek. My son is my only son. He is my legacy. I love him more than life itself. So, and my daughter. Oh my God, I refer to them both as my heart and soul. And you might say, well, which one is your heart and which one is your soul? They are interchangeable. Sometimes Sierra is my heart. Sometimes Athena is my heart. Sometimes Achille is my heart. Sometimes Achille is my soul. Sometimes Athena is my soul. They mesh together. So what would I do if someone harmed them? I remember what I did when someone threatened my daughter. It was at the height of the Black Lives Matter rallies. She was in a rally in Chicago. She was quoted by U.S. News and World Report. She went all over the world with these quotes. And she started being harassed, particularly by a white man from Pittsburgh. And at the time, this idiot didn't know that I could track him. I do IT. But it was easy because he left all of his information on Facebook because this is where he was harassing her. I traced him. Not only did I trace him, I traced his IP address. Not only did I trace his IP address, I was able to go to Google Maps and pull up a picture of his house. I'm just being real with you because I can relate to Rodney Hinton Jr. because we are tired and we are not going to continue to be threatened by people who think that they are superior than us. We just want to live just like you. And I'm sorry that you have these innate biases, but it has nothing to do with me. It is about your ignorance, not mine. So, by the way, he had his phone number on his profile. I called him. And I've told this story before. I called him. And I said, are you so-and-so, so-and-so? Yeah, who's speaking? I told him, I said, you don't know me, but you've been harassing my daughter on Facebook. And I'm not going to tolerate it. And he said, well, what are you going to do about it? I said, you see the picture that I sent you? It was a picture of his house. I said, now let me just tell you one more time. If my daughter calls me and tells me that you have continued to harass her, then I, along with some friends, will be coming to visit you. Make no mistake about it. Do I make myself clear? I then hung up. I will tell you that my daughter did not get harassed by this man anymore. I went on to tell this guy, I said, you may think that just because she's black, that she doesn't have any people, that she doesn't have a father. I told him, I said, you don't know who I am. I said, but if you want to get to know me, send her another harassing message. Oh, are you threatening me? No, sir, I'm not threatening you. I'm making you a promise. I then sent him a picture of that house. My daughter didn't get harassed anymore. So my point in telling you this story is that I wonder how I would feel if my son or my daughter was taken from me on some BS. I'm just not talking about cops. Okay? I'm gonna Charles Bronson you. You look at me, I got this gray, but I expect my children to bury me. I don't expect to bury them over some BS, over somebody out there who wanted to be a thug, over someone out there who wanted to play cowboy. I don't know what I would do, but I can certainly relate to Rodney Hinton Jr. We need to take a break. Back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you will shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products, that's ribrub.com. Easy to order and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'da thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. We're talking about Rodney Hinton Jr. But I wanted to also remind you all of this guy. His name is Luigi Mignone. Y'all remember Luigi, right? Luigi is the guy who killed the executive for United American Healthcare. Now, his name was Brian Thompson, by the way. Now, I have United American Healthcare, and I had to see a doctor last week, and I was denied a particular procedure. I won't go into my medical health, but let's just say my cardiologist recommended that I get that procedure, and they are yet to hear back from my insurance company. But Luigi, apparently upset about how healthcare is provided for people in America, decided that he was going to kill Brian Thompson. He was applauded. He was considered in some circles as a hero. He raised over $1 million for his criminal defense. He got money from whites, blacks, conservatives, liberals, racists, bigots, everybody who said, yeah, let's get those people. He deserved it, that Thompson guy. So you can applaud a guy for killing a CEO of a company. You can understand that. But you can't understand a guy who just lost his son to potentially a shooting that could have been avoided. Don't you just love America? Don't you just love it? Because this is what America stands for. Okay? Remember the lady, the Hendricks lady, who called the black kid the N-word? Y'all remember her? Let me see if I can pull her up. She has raised close to, last I counted, or last I saw, $700 million. There's a method to my madness. Have you gotten it yet? Next hour, I'm going to talk about the white supremacy and ICE. This whole show is about white supremacy. It's right in our eyes and we're ignoring it, we as the black community, and they are telling us that they don't want you in their communities. They're telling you. When you say roll back the clock, see, I ask the question all the time, are our black kids as strong as the black kids of our ancestors? Do they have the convictions of our ancestors? Will they stand up and fight? Will they? That's a good question, man. Had you been black and that white woman called that black kid the N-word, what would you have done? What would you have done? I'm just curious. What would you have done? Because this woman, and let me just go back. I want to make sure I have her name correctly. She calls the black kid the N-word, and we talked about this last week. But what would you have done had she been there? Would you have taken out your camera? Or would you have intervened the way that guy did? And by the way, the guy who made the video, he said he has had to move because he's been threatened. I'm just asking. So she has raised over $700 million. I'm just saying. How would you feel if that lady had called your son the N-word and you, the parent, had heard her? Would you have been justified in slapping the pee out of her? Because had that been my son and I had heard her say that to my son, I probably wouldn't have hit her, but I would have unloaded on her with all kinds of nice words because I'm a nice guy. I'm just asking the question. Because, see, I understand what Rodney Hinton Jr. was feeling. And you as a black person, you understand that as well, don't you? Yeah, you do. And you know what else I know about you as a black person? Is you are tired. Let me say it again. I'm going to do this real fast, just while I'm online, on the air. I just want to do this. Black people killed by police in the last 5 years. Let me say this. Black people killed by police in the last 5 years. Now that's funny. It didn't do anything. Let's try it again. Black people killed by police in the last 5 years. Let me type it in. That's crazy. I may need to. Black people. I should have. I don't know. Well, let's see. Here's one. Black people killed by police in the last 10 years. A list of unarmed black Americans killed by law enforcement in the United States in the last 10 years. God. Man. I'm gonna Wow. It just goes on and on and on. It's an amazing list. In fact, this doesn't just do the last 10 years. A list of unarmed African Americans killed by law enforcement in the United States. It goes back all the way to 1943. And I'm still scrolling, folks. Now I'm at 94. Wow. Now let's see, I'm at 2000. Look at this. Just go out and Google black folks killed, unarmed black people killed in the United States by police. Wow. There are men and women on here. These are unarmed. I said that right. I'm saying this for a reason. I'm doing this for a reason because I need people to understand before you have a value judgment on Rodney Hinton Jr. And look, I am not condoning vigilante justice, but I can certainly understand his dismay. I can feel his pain. As a father, as a parent, as I watched that brother in court, I felt his pain. And I know what you're saying, some of you white supremacists out there. Well, do you feel the pain of the officer that he killed? Yeah. It just goes to show you how racism will drive you to do things that you would not normally do. How racism has driven the police departments. Look, this is not one isolated incident. This is black people being killed all over this country, in city, in town, in county, in state. And I'm going to tell you like I think is Rodney Hinton Jr. was tired. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I am tired. It's like this gun debate and these people shooting up these schools. I'm tired. Something has to be done. And for certain people who think that, long as black kids are being killed, we okay. Well, I dare you to go back and look at the story I posted on my wall about the 74-year-old white man who was abused by police. You know, it's back to blue until it happens to you. And now all of a sudden you want to march. Take the top of the hour break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman.
Welcome back to the second hour of Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook. Send me an email at blackfocusradio@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you as well. We're marching to 1,000 listeners or subscribers on Facebook. Need your support on that. And don't forget to join the movement to just don't say it. The N-word, that is. Okay? Just don't say it. All right? So we talked a lot last week or last hour about Rodney Hinton Jr. And I started going through a list of black people who have been killed by police. And the list is shocking, to say the least. It goes all the way back to the 1800s. Well, the 1940s, I should say. So I profit the fact that black people are tired, and I think Rodney Hinton Jr. was tired. Yes, he was distraught about losing his son, but I think the weight of being a black man weighed down upon him as it does all of us, even me. Because I worry about not just my son, but myself. That at any waking moment, I could be killed by a cop because I made the wrong turn. You know, I live in a new city now. I've been in the DMV area for a little more than a year. And I won't say quite often, but there have been times that I've accidentally turned down the wrong street. And when I say the wrong street, I mean a one-way going in the opposite direction. And I panic and I immediately whip around. And the first thing I do, the first thing I think about is not whether or not I'm going down a one-way. I'm worried about whether a cop saw me because I don't want an interaction with the cop. I don't want to explain to him. We're tired. We're just that frustrated. I wanted to follow up about Dr. Cameisha Clarke. A college dean was fatally shot in her office last week, is being remembered as an amazing person. Prosecutors allege Dr. Cameisha Denise Clarke, a dean at Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology in Inglewood, California, was shot inside her office by a former security guard last Friday. She was 35 years old. School officials described the shooting as an apparent act of workplace violence. She was a Clarke Atlanta graduate who had recently moved to Los Angeles to take the job as dean of Spartan College, was taken to a local hospital where she later died. KTLA reported that another victim, a receptionist in the office, was injured in the shooting and remains in critical condition. Authorities said last week that a motive in the shooting is unclear. Clarke's family mourned her death in a statement to KTLA. Cameisha's life was taken from us far too soon in an act of senseless violence that no woman should ever have to endure. She was an amazing person who didn't deserve this. She was living her best life, doing the work she loved. Cameisha was the most compassionate, loving, and fiercely loyal person. She was a radiant, joyful, driven, and compassionate woman who touched countless lives across the country from her hometown of Atlanta, Georgia to Los Angeles. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office said in a news release on Tuesday that a former school security guard, Jesse Figueroa, had been arrested after allegedly fleeing the campus and was later charged in the shooting. Figueroa, 40, was charged with one felony count of murder, another felony for attempted murder, as well as felony counts for possession of a firearm with prior violent convictions and for possession of a firearm with prior convictions. The charges carry a possible life sentence in the state, according to Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman. The district attorney also said Figueroa is being charged with using a handgun to cause great bodily injury or death, which carries an additional possible sentencing of 25 years to life. He has not yet entered a plea, according to the DA. Any student, faculty member, or employee should feel safe and secure going to school, said Hochman. This horrific act of a gun violence has taken Spartan College and the entire community. We will file all appropriate gun enhancements in this case and send a clear message to criminals that violence will not be tolerated in Los Angeles County. She was a black woman. By the way, have y'all heard this story? Have y'all heard this? You see, the bottom line is black lives really don't matter, do they? I just wanted to follow up on that. This hour, I want to make sure. By the way, Luigi raised $1 million. By the way, where is Rodney Hinton Jr.'s GoFundMe? Oh, you can't do, what is the other one? Go send something? I don't even know the name of it. Let me see. Because I know the racist white woman, she on her site, and they had one of the CEOs on their site, you know, and he was talking about, he was trying to go, what is it? I don't know what the name of it. He called, Give Sin Go is the name of it. He called himself a Christian. But you know, when they raise that money, that company is making thousands and thousands of dollars as well, off of the backs of misery. Did y'all know that? I just thought I'd throw that out there for your edification, because this is about white supremacy. It really is. This hour, we're going to talk about white supremacy. We're going to also talk about where are the Epstein files and the Alabama ruling. But the first thing I want to talk about right now, you know, I've never been shot. I've actually seen someone shot, and I had to grow up around someone who had been shot. One thing I know about a gunshot, it's a nasty wound. It leaves a mark. I unfortunately saw my brother shot right here. And when I say right here, right below his bottom lip in the mouth. He lived to tell about it. And here's the irony behind it, that if you did not know he had been shot, you would think that that scar right below his bottom lip near his chin was maybe a birthmark. But because I knew what had happened and saw the scar, I knew it was a gunshot. I've seen pictures of other gunshot victims, and I've seen people dead with gunshot wounds. We've all seen war pictures of people riddled with bullets, and those bullets are designed to kill. They leave marks. So I guess the question that I'm asking is, why is it we have not heard anything else about the investigation of the Donald Trump assassination attempt? We know what 2 people were killed by this gunman, and the gunman was killed, if I remember correctly. Where are all the investigations on how he got where he was? But more importantly, the one thing that perplexes me more than anything else is Donald Trump's ear. Have you seen it? Have you? Do yourself a favor. The next time you go, you see Donald Trump speaking. Zoom in on his right ear. That's the ear that was shot. Zoom in on it. I actually posted a picture of his ear last week. I was curious. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. Don't believe in conspiracies. But something is strange, my friends. You say, well, Dave, what are you talking about? Well, let me say this. Was that boy or that person who took that shot that bad of a shot? Because we've talked about this a little bit before. His ear allegedly got shot with a high-powered rifle. There's not even a nick. I'm just saying, and I'm wondering why the national media doesn't bring this up. There's not even a nick. What happened? I'm at a point now where I don't put anything past Donald Trump. He's a flim-flam man. I don't put anything past that this shooting was staged. Why haven't we heard something more about the shooter and his family? Did they just go away? Why? If my mind serves me correctly, didn't they try to implicate the parent, one of the parents? You see, it's so far in my distant memory because they're not talking about it. A presidential candidate who is now the president of the United States someone attempted to assassinate him, and then no one is talking about it. No one is looking at his ear and saying, wow, that ear really healed up nice. Wow, I'd like to know who his plastic surgeon is. Because if you got hit with a high-powered bullet, you grazed it. You're saying it grazed you? Shouldn't there be some damage? I'm not a doctor, but I played one last night at the Holiday Inn. Why? I'm confused. Can y'all help me? I mean, I'm trying to be okay with this. And I ain't trying to stir up anything. I just like to ask questions. That's who I am and what I do. It irritates some people. But what happened to his ear? Why isn't it, damaged? Why can't we show some... I mean, did he get like a little nick, a little cut? Is that all? I just thought I'd throw that out there. Where's the scar? When I posted that picture on Facebook, a lot of people got it. Where's the scar? Because at this point in my life, I can't put anything past Donald Trump. Could it have been staged? Yeah. At this point, I don't know that to be true. I just know that we've got a flim-flam man, and I think that he would do anything to try to curry favor. And it worked. He's got a loyal cult following now that believes in him regardless of what the evidence is. They'll condemn someone who is a pedophile, yet here's a man who suggested that he would date a 10-year-old when she became of age. He was sued by E. Jean Carroll for sexually assaulting her, and the judge referred to as the conviction as the evidence as a potential rape. 34 felony counts, all guilty. But his following loves him. And I just wonder, was he the victim of a fortunate bob of his head? Or did he really get shot in the ear? I'm just asking for a friend, man. I'm just asking for a friend because it makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. Speaking of which, Pam Bundy, the Attorney General, Donald Trump's personal lawyer. You know, you hate to keep hearing the phrase constitutional crisis. You know, the Attorney General is supposed to be the lawyer for America, not the lawyer for the president. And this woman is a despicable case of that which is not right. She just is. So I really didn't really care about this. I kind of assumed that Donald Trump was an Epstein boy. I mean, look, I'm not saying anything that hadn't been reported. We've seen plenty of pictures of Donald Trump and Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen him on a plane. We've seen him shaking hands. We've seen him at a party. And we know the pathology of Donald Trump now. We know that he didn't mind grabbing a woman by the, you know what? If he bragged about it, he did it a lot. And if he had the opportunity to participate in some of the activities that Jeffrey Epstein was accused of doing, would it be hard for you to think that Donald Trump was not involved in some of that illicit activity as well? It wasn't me. Not saying he was. I don't have any evidence of that. But it's certainly because the evidence that we do have, that we all have seen, if you've been following this case, is there are multiple pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and they look like buds. Hello? Multiple pictures, not one or two, but multiple pictures. It wasn't where he was in passing. If I remember correctly, there was one where Donald Trump was, what was it? Was he shaking hands with Epstein at a party? There have been multiple pictures. So my point is, why is Pam Bondi refusing to release the Epstein tapes? Are they trying to scrub the information? Look, I'm sitting here and I just did a quick look. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein partied together. So you had two lechers, two petties that were together. Look at this. Getty Images, 206 Trump and Epstein photos and high-resolution pictures. 206. Hello? I'm just asking the question here. Are they not allowing those photos to be released? Here's Yahoo News. Epstein showed me photos of Trump with topless young women. Hello? Sitting in his lap, claims author. Hello? Why aren't they releasing these Epstein tapes? Why aren't they releasing the information? Are they trying to scrub Donald Trump's name out of it? This was another one of those little scandals that Donald Trump had that we just let it go by the wayside. Here's The Guardian. Jeffrey Epstein details close relationship with Trump in newly released tapes. Hello? I'm just asking. Image of young Donald Trump on sofa with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just going through Google. Folks. And I'm not just picking one. What the so-called Epstein files say about their relationship. Social media has been abuzz with details of Donald Trump's relationship with the late notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. That's NBC News. Okay? But while the pair knew each other for decades, there are no new revelations in the so-called Epstein files released this year. Misleading and sensational claims about Trump and Epstein have percolated online for weeks, circulating on Reddit, TikTok, on X, and hashtag Trump pedophiles trended throughout Wednesday, according to the website Trends24IN, which tracks the platform. The claims got a boost this week from Democratic Representative Ted Lieu of California. Something I've heard that doesn't seem to be covered are the Epstein files. These files were released. Donald Trump is sort of all over this. There are pictures of him with Epstein. He's taken multiple plane flights with Epstein, with young girls aboard. He's in call logs with Epstein. Lieu urged reporters Tuesday to look into the, highly disturbing allegations. It shows that Donald Trump is unfit for office. So again, why is the Attorney General hesitating on releasing the full files? It is certainly suggested that your pedophile in chief is all over those files. And again, based on what we know, a leopard doesn't change his spots. So if there is a guy, let's just take, for instance, here's pedophile A, or here is, because we know there are guys out there who look at women as their objects, and the first opportunity that they get, they're going to try to cop a feel. Oh, baby, come on, let me touch it. We know guys like that, unfortunately. There are guys like that. And it sounded to me, Donald Trump is one of those guys, because it was his words who said, if they know you're famous, and I'm paraphrasing, they let you grab them by the whoo. Those were his words. Those are not my words. Those are not something that I'm just making up. This is what he said. Not me. He said this. So if he had that mentality, and he had to know Jeffrey Epstein was, maybe he didn't know he was a pedophile, but he, according to reports, we know that he was around Epstein while he was on the plane with young girls. We know that. And we know that Jeffrey Epstein sexually harassed young girls and exploited young girls. So if he was on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein, and those young girls on that plane was on those planes for a particular reason, I'm winking now. You see my eye, I ain't got nothing in it. You know what I'm talking about. Here's a guy who says that women will let him grab them by the hoo-hoo. He's on a plane with young, impressionable young women. Are you to tell me that he didn't participate? Inquiring minds want to know. I certainly want to know. Are you telling me he didn't participate? Is that what you're trying to say? And is that why Pam Bundy and Attorney General is trying to withhold these files and hope that it will go away? No one will even pay attention to it. Is that what is happening? Y'all tell me. Tell me. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Why are you all letting this man slide? Why is the national media letting this man slide? Now, look, when he gets out of office, I don't want to see all these exposés of Donald Trump and what he did while he was in office. We got a problem. We got a problem. We are in a constitutional crisis. And the world is laughing at us because we elected that person. And I shouldn't say we because I didn't, but because I'm an American citizen, I have to say we. And I'm embarrassed. And you should be as well. We'll take a break. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joynetradio.com.
Dynamic Dave for JoinNetRadio.com. I'm inviting all small businesses to contact me at 855-525-5683 and let JoinNet Radio set up an advertising package specifically designed with your business in mind. This is a great opportunity for small businesses to get your products on the air. Do you want to get the word out about a new business? JoinNet Radio is for you. Do you want to advertise your event or social gathering? JoinNet Radio is for you. Do you preach or teach? Do it right here on JoinNetRadio.com. Call me, Dynamic Dave, at 855-525-5683 or go to JoinNetRadio.com and review our great lineup of shows. Let's help each other and let's get your products in the hands of consumers across the country. Call me, Dynamic Dave, at JoinNetRadio.com at 855-525-5683. I'll talk to you soon.
Coleman's Dynamic Products would like to thank you for all the support you've given us over the years. Our growth could not have happened without your purchases and word of mouth to your friends and family. That says you believe and trust us to provide Coleman's Dynamic Products with no fillers and all natural ingredients. We began with our flagship product, Rib Rub, and now it has expanded into snacks, seasonings, salts, rib juice, and pepper juice. We could not have done it without you. I'm David W. Coleman, founder and president, and I want to personally thank you for the encouraging words and support. Coleman's Dynamic Products will continue to be the best dry marinades, seasonings, and sauces you've ever put in your mouth. That's ribrub.com, RIBBRUBB. And you know what we like to say, bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah.
Pigskin, check. Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the weekly sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
A sports show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those rib nuts.
Yeah, we do have it all and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the weekly sports magazine.
All right, welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with me. If you'd like to join the show, don't forget to go out to YouTube and subscribe as we march to 1,000 subscribers. We need your support on that. And don't forget to support our sponsors, JoinNetRadio.com, as well as ribrub.com, RIBBRUBB.com. Bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh, yeah. I'm actually smoking a brisket as I do the show. I do a show from my home office. And I'm going to post the videos of the brisket once it's done so you can see for yourself how beautiful it is. And unfortunately, you ain't going to be able to taste it. Sorry. Tough. Too bad. Anyway, so a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've talked a lot about Rodney Hinton and how would you feel if that was your son, and considering the history of this country and the history of policing black people in America. That's going to be an ongoing story. I'm sure by now people are trying to send money to Rodney Hinton Jr. and a lot of people don't feel sorry for the cop whom he killed. You know, I heard someone say, if police are upset because one of their brothers in arms was killed, how do you think black people how black people feel when their black children are being shot down in the street by cops? It's a hard one, folks. And I fear that this is going to happen more. I'm seeing more and more posts of black people saying cop got what he deserved, even though that particular cop that Rodney Hinton ran over had nothing to do with the shooting. It's kind of like white cops accusing black males of things that other black males did. They assume that black males are in a gang. When you watch that Rodney Hinton video of him being in court That was nothing more than the slave catchers. The initial, look, there were 40, 50 cops in that courtroom. What was happening on the streets of Cincinnati that day? That was a gang. We know cops are a gang. They cover for one another. So we talked a lot about that. Racism is alive and well in America. Don't be fooled. And our black children better wake up real soon, or they're going to get, look, I think they marched in those Black Lives Matter rallies just to march. Oh, let's march. They didn't believe in Black Lives Matter, because if they did, they would continue to fight what is going on in America. But they're too ready to go back to, guess what? Yeah. Their PlayStation, their social medias. Things are happening all across this country to show you the bigotry and the racism that is happening in America. It's called white supremacy. Yeah. Let me give you an example before I get to this story in Alabama. Let me give you an example. If you don't think that white supremacists are in our midst, then you are lost. Let me read this to you from CBS News. An attorney employed by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement allegedly made racist, bigoted, xenophobic, hateful, harassing, and dishonest posts on an X account where he tried to hide his identity, according to a legal complaint filed against him. His name, James Roden, who, as of last Wednesday, was employed by ICE as assistant chief counsel, functioning as a prosecutor, allegedly identifying himself on the social media platform as Mr. X with the username @GlomarResponder, according to complaint, which was made by J. Whitfield Larrabee, an attorney in the state of Massachusetts. The Texas Observer claims it has identified Roden as the operator of the @GlobalResponder X account and published an article on Wednesday titled "ICE Prosecutor in Dallas Runs White Supremacist X Account." Oh, what was white prosecutor? ICE prosecutor. He's an attorney for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The publication said it identified Roden based on an overwhelming number of biographical details matched through publicly available documents, other social media activity, and courtroom observation. The article was included in Larrabee's complaint and appears to be the basis for his legal filing, which doesn't include any independent evidence that Roden is responsible for the post made on @GlobalResponder X account. CBS News has not independently confirmed that Roden is connected to the account. The post on X, which has over 17,000 followers, included comments made over the last year such as, "America is a white country founded by whites. Immigrants are all criminals, and I'm a fascist," the complaint says. The posts directly relate to Roden's work as an attorney representing the United States in removal proceedings before judges, the complaint says. Those in such proceedings are often vulnerable immigrants, refugees, and political asylum applicants. And Roden, as an assistant chief legal counsel, plays a role in the immigration justice system and has a powerful voice in the court. When the representative of the United States in our immigration courts is motivated by bigotry, racism, xenophobia, anti-immigrant bias, and hatred of immigrants, this seriously interferes with the administration of justice and undermines the integrity of our legal system, the complaint says. The complaint was filed with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel in Washington, D.C., where Rodin was licensed to practice, and with the Office of Professional Responsibility for ICE. Larrabee said, it calls for an investigation and for Rodin to be suspended from practicing law. CBS has reached out to ICE multiple times for comment and did not receive a response as of Friday afternoon. According to the Observer, an ICE spokesman said in an email to the publication that the agency would not comment on the substance of this article pending further investigation to include whether the owner of the reference X account is a current employee. Notwithstanding, ICE holds its employees to the highest standards of professionalism and takes seriously all allegations of inappropriate conduct. CBS News Texas reached out to Rodin at a phone number and email address that was listed in his public records. The Observer said Rodin did not respond to multiple email requests for comment, and that a man reached at a phone number associated with Rodin declined to confirm his identity and hung up. When approached in a public hallway outside of the Dallas Immigration Court and asked to confirm receipt of the email request, Rodin said only to call his press office. Mark Vesey, who represents Dallas-Fort Worth in Congress, said in a post on Thursday, James Rodin has exposed himself as a white supremacist while serving as ICE's assistant chief counsel. I am demanding answers, sending a letter of inquiry, and calling for a full investigation now. Now, why did I read that? Because guess what? Some of you black people out there said there are no white supremacists in the White House. Some of you white people said, oh, you remember that guy, what was his name? That black guy from the congressman from South Carolina, or I should say the senator. You remember him? America ain't a racist country. He's been awful quiet lately. You know him, Tim Scott. Him been awful quiet. He ain't said nothing about massa. He didn't get any appointments from the Trump administration. Neither did Byron Donalds. But those are just two of the many black folks out there, the 8% of black folks who voted for Donald Trump, who said America is not a racist country. You think? It isn't? You don't think so? Wow. Okay. I'm just saying, America is a racist country, and it's proven itself over and over again as we speak, day by day. Day by day. One other thing, because we want to make sure that we do what we must do. One other thing. The Alabama ruling. Have y'all heard about this? Because they've been trying to disenfranchise black people for years. And there was a ruling that has come down about Alabama that is going to rock Alabama to its core. You know what I'm saying? Let me pull it up for you real fast. This is breaking news 1 day ago. Racist Republicans got devastating news as a federal judge ruled that Alabama intentionally discriminated against black residents when the state disobeyed the courts to draw a second black majority congressional district. No, not another racism story by white people. America is not racist anymore. White people love black folk. They want us to have the same thing that they have. Although they keep saying America was founded by white people, forgetting the fact that the Native Americans were here. Yeah, it was founded by white people. I continue. This one is really going to hurt MAGA in the midterms. The judges stated that a congressional map drawn up in 2023 by the Alabama legislature violates the Voting Rights Act. By the way, the same act that the Trump administration recently fired many of the civil rights attorneys. Many of them resigned. Anyway, I digress. The state is now permanently blocked from using the unfair map. After the 2020 census, the state made a jaw-dropping and blatantly corrupt decision to draw 6 of its 7 districts to be majority white, helping Republicans, despite the fact that 27% of the state is black. Now, let me just tell you something. That's called gerrymandering. They are doing this all over the South. How is it that you have states that are predominantly Democratic leaning, but they get Republican representation? This has been going on for the last 15, 20 years by the Republicans, just to maintain their power. Okay? While the judge stated that their ruling is not meant to diminish the substantial improvements Alabama has made in its official treatment of black Alabamians in recent decades, they said they had to take action. Yet we cannot reconcile the state's intentional decision to discriminate in drawing the congressional districts with its position that Alabama has finally closed out its repugnant history of official discrimination involving voting rights, the three-judge panel said. The court will now decide whether or not Alabama must be held accountable under Provision 5 of the Voting Rights Act, which would require the state going forward to obtain federal approval for its congressional plans. The record thus leaves us in no doubt that the purpose of the design of the 2023 plan was to crack black voters across congressional districts in a manner that makes it impossible to create 2 districts in which they have an opportunity to elect candidates of their choice, and thereby intentionally perpetuate the discriminatory efforts of the 2021 plan. The legislature knew the federal law required and purposely refused to provide it in a strategic attempt to checkmate the injunction that ordered it. The plaintiffs in the case celebrate the historic ruling, telling the Associated Press that it is a testament to the dedication and the persistence of many generations of black Alabamians who pursued political equality at great cost. That's a pregnant pause right there for those of you who are not watching on YouTube. That's another one. Because what I've been telling you now, and I've really started opening up the can on this, is that this is all about white supremacy. You see, someone once said that, slavery was legal. Yeah, it was. It was legal. But that didn't make it right. And those of you who tend to believe that we are in a post-racial society, we see every day now that many of these southern states, many of them don't give a damn about your post-racial society. All they want is to maintain power because they understand white genetic annihilation. If you don't know what that is, we've talked about that a lot on this show. Go back and listen to previous shows or pick up the book. I just have this right here, the ISIS papers. I don't make any money off of that book, but I'm going to tell you it's one of the best books I ever read. It began to open up my eyes to white supremacy. I knew it. It was around me, but I didn't understand it until I read the ISIS papers about 83, 84, somewhere in there. And then I began to follow Dr. Welsing, Saul on Donahue. She made the point, and I've said this over and over again on that show, and unfortunately I've searched high and low to try to find that clip, that when on stage on Donahue, with the white supremacists. And the white supremacist was told by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing that by 2042 that this country will be majority minority. He said we'd blow it up before we let that happen. It's 24. You got maybe 20 years. I'll probably be dead and gone by now. I'll probably never see it. But what are white people doing right now? They are trying to politically blow up this country. They have elected a man who has said that he is not wedded to the Constitution, who thinks he's a king, who had the temerity to have someone to post a picture of him as the Pope, who wants to have a military-style parade. And he dodged the draft. He didn't serve 1 second in the military. And the Republican Party, who is predominantly white, is allowing this man to circumvent the Constitution. Now the question is, why are they allowing him to do this? Well, it could be a couple of things, and I think it's a little bit of both. I think the first thing is money. He is putting money in their pockets. We know now that Marjorie Taylor Greene, when the stock market crashed, and then because of Donald Trump's promises of tariffs, and then he came back the next day and backed off of them, we know for a fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene made millions. She wasn't the only one. She wasn't the only one. So we know that that's part of the reason. But the other part is because these white Republicans are closet bigots. They are the ones that will laugh in your face, eat your food, come to your church, and go and vote against your black ass. That's what they are. That's why they're allowing him to get away with this. That's why they're not even showing up to some of the committee hearings. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're spending time voting on a bill to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, as opposed to being concerned about children not being able to eat breakfast. They're concerned about making sure that they give tax cuts, trillions of tax cuts, to wealthy people, and the poor people, the middle class, what's left of it, will have to pay for it. That's these people. They're doing everything they can to stay in power because their argument is that if we stay in power, we can rule. That's not going to work. The browning of America is happening right before your eyes, and you are in full panic mode. I don't feel sorry for you. I just don't. And we as black people are gonna have to pay attention. Because they're now saying the quiet things out loud. You had a congressman, a mayor, or whatever he was, talk about how the 3/5 compromise was good for black people. Yeah. We are in a dangerous time. So those are a couple of things I wanted to throw out there for you. The question now is, what are we going to do about it? That's the big question. So when I come back, I'm going to ask you what we must do, or at least tell you what we must do. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices, on joynetradio.com.
David W. Coleman here for Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and Rib Nuts. Go to ribrub.com, that's RIBBRUBB.com right now, and stock up on the best dry marinades for baking, grilling, and smoking your favorite meats. 3 great flavors, hot and spicy, original, and scorching. Try them at your next cookout and you will shout, bake it, grill it, shake it, oh yeah! Only one place to get Coleman's Dynamic products, that's ribrub.com. Easy to order and I'll ship direct to you or to friends and family anywhere in the United States. While on the site, be sure to check out other great items, especially the rib nuts. Who'd have thunk it? Peanuts sauteed in a barbecue marinade? That's just crazy good. Get them at ribrub.com right now, along with other great recipes. That's ribrub.com. If you don't like my rib rub or rib nuts, I'll give you money back. Do it today. That's Coleman's Dynamic Products at ribrub.com.
All right, welcome back to my favorite segment, What We Must Do. I've been talking a lot as of late about white supremacy and racism in America. It's almost to the point now where you can't go a day without witnessing it in our federal government, as they fired last week. And many of them laid off or quit the civil rights attorneys, the people who are designed to fight discrimination in America. Racial, homophobic, workplace discrimination. Many of those people either fired, were laid off, or just simply quit. I've told you over and over again, and I've told you all the story about worshiping the gods of a beaten enemy. What we understand now is they fear losing their money. That's what they fear. We've seen now that Target has been FAFO'd. Their CEO a week or so ago reached out to black leaders to try and figure out what they must do in order to get black businesses or black people to come back to their business. See, because they didn't realize the power of the black dollar. Because a lot of people don't realize the power of the black dollar until we take the black dollar. We don't do that often. I often tell people that I ask the question, what was the number one weapon that we used in the 60s? What changed the tide of the 60s? Was it the marches? Was it the speeches? No. It was one act, an act of unity that changed the tide and made white people wake up. That was the economic bus boycott. Because what you all don't understand is that not only was there a boycott going on, black people stopped going to other white businesses. And white businesses had to go to the city council people and the mayor and say, hey, wait a minute, we're losing thousands of dollars. We got to do something about this equal rights stuff. Hello? Target lost $16 billion and reached out to black people like Al Sharpton and said, hey, can I speak? Nothing was resolved and nothing will be resolved and should not be resolved because you took us for granted. You didn't treat us as human beings. You took our dollars for granted, just like many other white businesses. I say this over and over again, that we spend more than the gross national domestic product of Canada. If we were a nation, black nation, we would spend more. We would be the 10th largest nation in the world. That's not an exaggeration. That's a fact. Then less than 10% of that money goes back into the black community. We are at a crossroads. White people are becoming more racist. Hispanics and Asians are becoming more racist. And black people are simply just taking it. It was black people who built this country. White people didn't build this country. You benefited from the backs and the free labor of black people. So every time you say that you built this country, white boy, you are a joke upon yourself. So what are we going to do about it? Worshiping the gods of a beaten enemy. We are worshiping their God. Their God is money. You saw all of a sudden now that Trump has pulled back on those tariffs because white people ran to him and said, oh, we're losing money. There are some black people in the stock market, but the majority of them are not. So black people aren't losing money. But white people were. So they had to pull back on some of those tariffs. And I surmise that there will be more pulling back in the very near future because this has been a failed policy by a flim-flam man. But you know, they were more concerned about allowing this crook in the White House as opposed to simply being fair to black people. He's going to get the immigrants. The immigrants weren't bothering you. They weren't taking your jobs. Here in the next few weeks, we're going to figure out that, hey, this is really tough on us because our shelves are going to be empty. I will tell you right now that I am buying up food myself. I will tell you right now, in the coming days, I'm going to buy a freezer and stock up on food. Fruits, vegetables, whatever I can. So I say all that to say this. You see, what we must do is band together. We need to do what many of the countries in Africa are beginning to do. What Ibrahim Traore is trying to get many of those countries to do is band together and act as one force. We as black people need to act as one force. Now look, I know that there are some of those out there who will not do that. I know that. I know those idiots are out there. We'll have to drag them along kicking us and screaming, or we'll have to, That's the bottom line. We have to strengthen our boycotts. We have to strengthen our moods to say we are not going to take this anymore. You see, Rodney Hinton Jr. said we're not going to take this anymore. You see, white people glorify about the Civil War, but, it's funny how a lot of these fat white boys are the ones who glorify the Civil War, but they don't really want war. No one wants war. No one wants death and destruction. But what I need to tell white people is that we're not going to take it anymore. That's what Rodney Hinton Jr. said. That's why he did what he did. That's why a lot of black people are applauding him. There's an old saying, if you believe in an eye for an eye, then guess what? Eventually all of us will be blind. Before we get to that point, somebody better do something because black people are tired. And what we must do is continue to teach our children. We got to start teaching black history in our churches. That's the one place that they cannot touch. Every Sunday there should be a black history moment. Every Sunday. Not about Martin Luther King. But we need to talk about not just the activists, but the inventors. We need to talk about John Brown at Harper's Ferry. We need to talk about Nat Turner. We need to talk about those white abolitionists who stood beside us as we fought for liberation during slavery. We need to talk about the Devil's Punch Bowl as the North left thousands of black people to die. We need to talk about Abraham Lincoln. The lie that was told that he was there, he freed the slaves, but he was just as big as a bigot as his white counterparts. And why he freed the slaves. Not because he had compassion for black people, but because the North was on the verge of losing the war. Those are things that we need to talk about in our churches. These are things that we need to talk about with our children. And more importantly, we need to put eyeballs on our dollars. We need to put eyeballs on our dollars. Every spice, every dress, every thread, anything that you can spend with black people. If you go out and you spend $100, try to spend at least 30 with black people. Even if you've got to order it now, if it's online, spend it with a black business. That's how we solve this problem. And most importantly, last but not least, stop entertaining them. I love that the Met Gala decided that they were not going to invite Donald Trump. And he got mad because they invited Kamala Harris. And he was mad and upset. Have y'all seen his rantings? Looked like a petulant child. But what we have to do is say, we are not going to take that anymore. We are not going to allow you to subjugate us as human beings and then want to come be buddy with us. That's why Saquon Barkley is taking so much heat. That's why Snoop Dogg and Nelly and all those other black celebrities who decided that they wanted to kowtow to this bigot have been ostracized and basically removed from our existence. What we must do more than ever, just like the Met Gala, is stand up against tyranny, stand up against bigotry and racism. And once one of us stand, we all will stand together, and it will never go away. But they will know that it's time for them to go back into the closet. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's called Black Focus Radio. Don't forget, don't say it, the N-word. You're going to be hearing more about that. Support our sponsors, ribrub.com, RUBB.com, as well as joynetradio.com. And as I leave you, one of my favorite quotes of all time. It just speaks volumes to what we stand for, because as I've said over and over again, is that we can disagree and love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and my right to exist.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions and our voices. Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on joynetradio.com.